So, who wants to talk about Anita Sarkeesian?
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Yeah, I, to some extent, didn't want to talk about it either, but to be fair, I saw this while rummaging through Twitter, and it is kind of stupid, and kind of wondering if it's actually fake. But why don't we let's just get right into it, because again, it's Anita Sarkeesian, guys. Come on, it's at this point, it's more likely, fabricated, knowing her record.
On my bike today, a white dude driver honked at me because I was in the road. There was plenty of room to go around me, so I told him to fuck off. He stops at the stop sign until I catch up so he can tell me there's no need for swearing.
Now, taking a look at this, and as well as, situations that I have to deal with when it comes down to, my daily commute, when it comes down to work and driving and so on, and looking at the track record of my own town that I live in, bikers can be assholes too. And I'm not just talking about motorcyclists. I'm also talking about regular bicyclists. Anybody. Driver, bicyclist, heck, even a pedestrian can be an asshole. And there are those situations where a bicyclist, even though there is a bike lane, take up the lane of traffic. So, I wouldn't be surprised if in this situation, Anita was one of those people, because, let's face it, she thinks that everything is entitled to her, and when she called out, she claims victim. I wouldn't be surprised if she was one of those people that, even though there was probably a bike lane, she took up the entire section of the fucking lane of traffic. Now, granted, to a certain degree, maybe perhaps the driver shouldn't have honked, but at the same time, especially when it comes down to it, regardless of whether they honked or not, I think they are within the right to tell you, there was no need to swear. Especially if, more likely, in this situation, you were taking up a section of traffic, impeding people from, doing what they need to do, which is basically drive.
I tell him there's no need for honking, and I have every right to be on the road too. I think I told him he's a jackass. Then I bike away. As he passes, he yells out, "Bitch," because it takes 2 seconds to get to misogyny. Oh, also, he had a Burbank Police Foundation license plate.
With statements like that, makes me wonder, again, that this is all fabricated. Because that one particular line where she mentions, last minute, that the driver had a Burbank Police Foundation license plate. I mean, regardless of whatever drama's going on with the Burbank police, at this point, really, why is that a detail to mention besides, probably to stir up drama or, claim victim in that situation? Because unless there was a reason to, I guess, if anything, stir certain emotions in people, why the fuck bring it up? And if anything, I think it's just a cheap shot anyways. But when it comes down to it, with, the person, not only you telling him to fuck off and then calling him a jackass, I think the person at that point is in their right to call you a bitch. Considering the fact that, again, and more likely, because I'm now thinking that you were in the wrong in this situation, where more likely you were taking up space where people were trying to drive. Again, yes, in some sense, maybe the guy shouldn't have honked, but at the same time, if you're taking up space, if you're taking up a section of the road and probably making it impossible for people to drive, then they're also within their right to honk at you. And you only escalate it by using, offensive language towards them when you were in the wrong. So in this case, I'm strongly believing that Anita Sarkeesian is not the victim as they claim themselves to be, but rather the perpetrator of this whole situation.
This is why the scene in Promising Young Woman, when she's in the car at the stop sign and men drive by and yell misogynist slurs at her, really affected me. It takes next to nothing for men to devolve into women hating violent rage.
So, I had to look up the scene that she is referring to, and the best thing I got is when it comes down to the film, by looking it up on YouTube, as well as the car scene, to kind of describe what we see in this scene, is literally a woman who is sitting in the middle of the road. A guy pulls up, granted, over-exaggerated, irritated that the person is literally parked in the middle of the road, being a nuisance to traffic, or any possible traffic. And, by the way, just from 0 to 100, lady gets out of her car, grabs a tire iron, and then proceeds to destroy the guy's car. Granted, the guy, when it comes down to his reaction, was over-exaggerated, but the behavior from this lady is not appropriate. And by the way, I know this is probably going to offend certain people, especially when it comes to Anita Sarkeesian, as well as people in the feminist community, but road rage has no gender. I know that comes to a shock to a lot of people, but yeah, road rage doesn't have a gender. Anybody, man, woman, trans, can go from 0 to 100 in a second on the road. It's not just men. Women do it too, as well as any other person. So, to claim that it's it's misogyny is complete and utter bullshit. And by the way, I love some of the responses to what Anita posted on Twitter, because some of them are actually kind of funny. Or, he called you a bitch because you cursed at him twice and were needlessly aggressive, lol. White dude driver honks since feminist biker thinks she owns the road. Feminist biker says go around, then says fuck off. White dude driver says no need to cuss. Feminist biker calls him a jackass. White dude driver says bitch. Feminist biker blames misogyny, and feminism prevails. Doubt. And I gotta say, this is probably one of my favorites. Question, what was the relevance of his race in the story? What does his skin color have to do with anything? You take up too much space on the road, being a slow-moving obstacle in high-speed traffic. Car honks. You, fuck off. Car, no need to throw insults. You, jackass. Car, bitch. You, it takes next to nothing for men to devolve into women hating violent rage. Everyone. So, final thoughts in this whole situation. I don't think Anita Sarkeesian is as much of a victim as they try to make themselves to be in this situation. If anything, more likely, Anita Sarkeesian was the antagonist. And if anything, she was involving herself in a situation or at least incurring honestly, somebody who was just trying to, do their daily commute. And if anything, especially with somebody who more likely was, taking up more space than they needed to when it comes to biking, decided to be aggressive. More so than they actually needed to be. So, in this situation, from what it sounds like, and again, due to Anita's track record, I'm just going to say Anita is the one that's at fault. But what are your thoughts? I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. If you guys can, please leave a like, comment, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. If you guys will follow us on social media, links are in the description down below, as well as check out our daily content and the weekly podcast. With that being said, this is Rob Novakast signing off. Have a good one, and take care. Peace.